I used to talk about the topic. I just haven't talked about it as much lately. Okay, so I guess it was sort of on my mind again, and it's just because people like they always talk about these things, and people always ask, or some people ask, they're like, well, why don't you try to meet somebody, or have you met somebody? And the answer is not really, because I don't know. I just stopped for a long time. Well, I would sometimes in the past think that certain, like, if I met somebody, that maybe there was some possibility, but I didn't date a lot. I'm not a super, like, I'm more of an introverted person, as I've talked about on this channel, and I'm not into social dating scene. Like, I don't like it. And then, honestly, the honest truth is, this is just my thought about this. The few times that I dated in the past, I won't even go into it really, like, nah, because it was just not, it wasn't that good, and it was very disappointing, and I just feel like those are just not situations I would put myself in anymore. And then some people say that if you go to church or you do a Christian dating site, that the people are better. I don't think so. In my experience, like, those are not the kind of people I met. Like, who did I meet? Like, I don't know. I've just met a few people in my life. I don't have like a big giant dating experience because honestly, I keep to myself a lot, and I'm a quieter person. And the few people I met, like on the Christian dating sites, like they either said that they were into hooking up, or they just wanted something casual, like after they knew somebody for months, and I didn't really understand their motivation for even being on a Christian dating site. And I guess in certain cultures, I think it depends on what you're looking for. If you're from a more traditional culture, this probably won't apply to you, okay? But I've just been thinking about this. This is sort of true for a lot of people. Like, there's some people that just, they don't want to date, period. And I don't get that. Like, I'm just not one of those people. Like, I think dating can be nice if you meet the right person, if it's healthy. But I'm not a 4B person. And I don't like incels. Like, even, okay, like the incel men, I think that's weird. And the incel ladies, oh, I don't get that. But personally, I just am not a fan of that, because I guess I was talking about this morning. The reason I stopped dating is because in the past, I realized I would just be so nice to people, and I'd be like, oh, I'd want to do things for them and be there for them. And I just always seem to be, in most situations, it would be always somebody that ended up like they were besotted by somebody else, and I was like somebody that they just wanted consolation from, or they don't want to get divorced but they're dating, which is weird. The one guy that told me that, he said that it wouldn't have even came out, but I asked him directly. It was, oh, it would have came out eventually. No, that's something you tell somebody right away. It's just, and I was like, oh, this is so weird. And then that was my most recent like attempt to date, and that was back in 2022. So I was like, no, I just don't want to. Like, I'm not antisocial, I'm just more introverted. So after all these really bad experiences, and they're not horrible experiences, just they, for me, I don't like that kind of stuff. Some people really, they think it's fun to meet a lot of people, but a lot of people are single nowadays, and there's a reason for that. I think, I don't know, I've been thinking about these things lately. I do think that a lot of it has to do with modern society. I think modern society, in promoting, that everybody be more independent, which is a good thing, that more people are just single these days. It can be good or bad, but I just personally am not trying to meet a lot of people, because it's been, whenever I do, it's just disappointing. And then I think about people that were more shy, like that guy who got me the flowers, and I was thinking, did he like me? Because he bought me flowers, but he didn't ask me out. But sometimes he acts like he likes me, But I'm like, you know what? I'm not a teenager anymore. I can't play that game. And I'm not like somebody who's super, super direct. I'm not going to be like, oh, do you like me, by the way? Why did you get me? Because I just assumed he got it to be nice, which actually really kind of warms my heart, because I'm like, if somebody just does something to be nice, those are the kind of people you want in your life. Like people that just do something to be nice because they want to make you smile. And I like that. And so I just always stick to situations where somebody tries to make me happy. I never want to be, this is my personal thought, in a situation, like I am nice to people and I do try to make them happy, but if I encounter somebody that I think isn't really interested in making me happy and they're very invested in themselves and they're not a single person, I'm not gonna date them. Plus, I don't like dating. I think the dating scene is kind of, I don't know, it's bankrupt. It's truly bankrupt. And I feel that in different times, like in the past, before we became more of and I guess I'm thinking more of maybe English culture, because America has a very continuance of English culture. I think with the French, they do things differently. A lot of them get married and then they play around on their wives and stuff. And nowadays, I don't know, a lot of people do that. I don't know, like the whole mistress thing. Like in English culture, in American culture, that's not acceptable. Like really wasn't in the past, might be more now. It was kind of kept on the low down, but like in French culture, it's actually kind of promoted. Like it's a thing. Like it's like a big thing, I guess. But I know everybody has all these different ideas about like polyamory or just like being an incel or being married and like being very happy about it. But I feel like there's just gotta be another way. Like this is my thought. I'm not saying I'll never get married, but I kind of gave up on the idea of ever getting married like 15 years ago, because 15 years ago, that's when I had just experiences that were not that fun. So I stopped dating. And then I tried again a few years ago. And I tried again even 2 years ago. And every time I try, like in these scenarios, I don't enjoy my experience. Like they're never good experiences. So I think that's just me. Like I'm not a real super extroverted kind of person, and I know there's introverted people that meet each other, but after you've had just a couple of experiences that just aren't that great, like why would we keep trying at that? And I also have more opinions about the whole relationship thing. I feel like people think that once they're in a relationship, like somehow their feelings of loneliness will go away, or they'll find like some sort of significance. But I don't think that's accurate. I think, in my personal opinion, you just hear a lot of people complain about their spouses a lot, or complain about being in a relationship. And I always think, if that's the case, why are people publicly complaining, like telling other people things about their relationships that they don't like? I don't really understand that. I never did. Like it's pretty widespread. You hear people do this all the time. You hear people at the grocery stores have fights with their significant other, and at the end of the day, a lot of people get divorced. Why do they get divorced? Why is the divorce rate so high? Is it because people don't really try to meet people that they're compatible with? Is it because just being in a relationship is the most important thing to some people? I think it's actually better to be single, like for a long time, maybe like, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, until you really figure out what makes you happy, because being in a relationship's not going to complete you. Like, it just isn't. I feel. So I kind of wanted to just clarify some of the things I said this morning, because maybe I sound really anti-relationships. And I'm not anti-relationships. I think relationships work out for a lot of people. They truly do. But you also have to keep in mind, there's a lot of people that are married or in relationships, and they're very lonely. And I don't think, okay, if you feel loneliness now, being a single person, this is just my belief. I don't believe that getting in a relationship is going to take those feelings away. Because even if you're married to like the best person, a really caring, a really giving person, there's only so much that another person can do for you. You have to, and this is something just from my own experience, I speak from experience, you have to find your happiness within yourself. You can look to it, for it to God, because I believe happiness comes with having a relationship with God, because I believe if you believe in God, and I know atheists don't agree with me, but whatever, I'm not talking about atheism. I'm talking about how I do believe that there's an Abrahamic God. I believe that. That's what I believe. So I believe that God put us on this earth for a purpose, and our purpose is to make the earth a better place, and that we should embody that purpose by trying to be happy. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm depressed, and I know a lot of people suffer from depression. All I could say is in those cases, maybe you need to seek out therapy and things like that, because I think there's a way to get past those things. I'm not saying that some people will never completely get past their depression, but some of it is a choice. You know, if you are selecting and choosing to just feel negative and unhappy all the time. And I think about people in my own family who went through many things. Like, I think about how my own mom, like, her mother died when she was 13 years old, and she had a stepmother who just wasn't very nice to her, but she chose to be happy, and she chose to take care of her younger siblings, and she chose to try and find the positive in this, in life, positivity. Like, she wanted to have her own family. She wanted to, like, garden. She wanted to become a vegetarian, and those were things that were very important to her, and she pursued those things, and she has the most wonderful garden. She's such a great gardener. So I think sometimes you have to find what will make you feel joyful and positive, and your contribution, like your talent, your skills, what you can give to this world, because you need to find that within yourself. You can't find that in a relationship, because a relationship is never going to provide something that you don't feel within you. So when a lot of people say, oh, like, I feel like a relationship might make me happier, it really won't, because right now, if you feel any kind of loneliness within you, it's probably going to continue once you're in a relationship. And that's the truth, because it might actually be worse, because even if you meet somebody that seems really thoughtful and really wants to take care of you, there's no guarantee that they're not going to later resent. Like, I don't know, if you need a lot of things from another person, they might resent it later. And I'm not saying you can't get some sort of emotional support or kindness from a person, because honestly, I myself will give that to other people. I definitely will. But in the past, I realized a lot of people would manipulate me, because I was the kind of person that would just give that to people, and I feel like I gave it endlessly, and I gave too much. And I don't know why I was so adamant to be that person that would just give to people. But nobody, like, those type of people, they wouldn't reciprocate. They didn't ever want to give to me. So my, like, reason for not wanting to date is I want to meet people that actually are receptive to me and want to give to me, and, like, really want to impress me and make me happy. Yeah, like, and I don't need that. I just definitely don't need that. But I'm looking for somebody like the flower guy. He doesn't even have to date me, but just someone who is thoughtful like that, you know? Somebody who does stuff like that. Not people who just are very loosey-goosey and just want some emotional support because something else in their life, like relationship-wise, didn't work out, and they're sad, or they are just casual and I don't know, or they're married and they have a 14-year-old daughter. None of that. That stuff just doesn't. So, I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. I think being single is great because I think once you find your own happiness, you're not looking for it in a relationship. And I think a relationship is supposed to complement you. It's supposed to be something where, like, the best version of yourself can find reflection in another person, but it won't bring you happiness. It just won't. And I worry because I think a lot of people think that they're gonna find happiness once they find that relationship. But will you though? I don't know. But I don't know. These are just my thoughts because I always hear a lot of people say, oh, I wish I could meet somebody. Why? Why is it that it has to be somebody? What about you? Have you found you completely yet? I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit too much of a philosopher. I don't know. These are just my thoughts.